Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining Irma Francis and I on our live stream on Are You a Healer and the qualities that a healer has. And today's topic is intuition. So Irma and I are going to share our expertise and our humor and our wisdom so that we can get a nice little handle on what it is for about the next, 20, 30, 40 minutes or so, depending upon how much wisdom comes out of us. So I hope that it gives you some great nuggets of information, and I hope you can join us and hang out with us for a while. So there we go. We're going to start with intuition, and we'll just jump right in. So, Irma, do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I can start because I've been kind of anxious and excited about doing this today because this is one of my favorite qualities for being a healer. I did want to say, if anybody's watching and they want to type in a question, they can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We should be able to see the question.
Okay, cool. So, intuition, oh my gosh. Okay, so intuition to me is very kind of simple and precise in that it is the inner teacher. And if you break that word apart, that's exactly what it means, because tuition means like tuition for school.
Okay.
Tuition for education.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's the inner educator. And I just love having that awareness about the word and about what intuition actually means. And gosh, this is, I think in our society, we really have gotten so far off course in trusting this. And it's so majorly important for us in our society today to trust this. And one way you know that you're trusting it is if you are in touch with your inner world and you aren't kind of dependent on what you see and hear in the external world. You're trusting more what's inside of you and what you feel inside. And I think intuition is very natural. I think it's something we are born with and kind of gets conditioned out of us. Not that much unlike animals that are born with instincts. It's human instincts rather than animal instincts, and we call that intuition.
Okay, so
Yeah.
from your point of view, intuition is something that we're inherently born with, and that in our cultures and society it tends to be conditioned out of us, so that we recognize or sense our intuition less and less. That's how you see intuition. It's an inner teacher that if we listen to will help give us guidance. Okay.
And because it's conditioned out of us, it makes us a lot more easily controllable.
Okay, so because we don't trust our intuition and we don't feel it because we're numbing it out with drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling, life, overstimulation, it means that other people can manipulate us and put us in certain directions.
Yes.
So why is this a specific quality of a healer?
Because I think it's one of the major qualities of a healer, if not the top quality. Without it, a person would be relying more on their logic or reason, which is the head. And a lot of times the left side of the brain, which is logic, and kind of disregarding the right side of the brain, which also gets conditioned out of us. So logic, head versus intuition for a healer. I think you need to have both and a communication between both, but the leading sense being intuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel your intuition, or how do you know when you're listening? Is it a small voice? What is it? What does intuition see or feel, or what is that like to you?
Yeah, and I think it is different for everybody. Of course, we have all the clairs, clairvoyant, whether you're feeling. What are they? What are all the clairvoyants? Do you know off the top of your head?
Clairaudience, clairvoyance. I don't know what the others are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the clairs. What was your question?
My question is how do you know you're listening to your intuition?
Okay. That we all have different ways of tapping into our intuition. For me, I have such a strong inner vision that my inner life, my inner vision is even more intense and stronger than my physical eyes, my external vision. So I see a lot of images.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
a
in your
big thing for
head,
me.
you see images, and if the external is matching the images that you see in your head, then you feel that you're accurately seeing something.
Yeah, yeah. And those images, it's almost like having access to, I would call it kind of like a spiritual language that speaks through images rather than words. And then my job as a healer is to interpret what those images are telling me and how they relate to my client.
Okay.
That's
So-
for me, but everybody's different.
Okay, so someone who is a healer has a well-developed sense of intuition from your perspective,
I would think so.
so that they can use that intuition to help guide a situation or help someone reach a goal or find clarity or understanding with something, because then you can say, what I'm sensing or what I'm seeing or feeling about this is, that you're uncomfortable. How does that play out? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you shine a light on the things which may be hidden from people.
Yeah, yeah.
So your intuition, because it's so well developed, you can help people find their clarity because you give them pieces of information they might not have been aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And because it does come in images, it kind of takes it out of the ego and the personal. And so it makes it easier for the client to let that part go and be a little bit more open, because it's not the ego and it's not personal. It's actually images that are coming through me, that are speaking through me, that are connected to the energy that they're in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And how about for you? What does intuition mean to you? in
Intuition
being a healer?
has a different spin for me. I didn't trust my intuition for a very long time. Intuition for me is enough life experiences that you develop shortcuts from point A to point B. So intuition for me is where I can look at a situation and accurately understand what's going on from many different points of view.
Kind of like a kaleidoscope.
Yes, it is a kaleidoscope. I liken it to holding up a diamond and looking at all the different facets of the diamond. So the situation is a diamond, and I'm looking at this facet and this facet and this facet. And they're all different perspectives and points of view that make up the whole. And so my intuition is where I don't have to look at the 100 different facets. I don't have to see them separately. It just goes, it's a zipping through. It's a felt sense. And that's developed through having hundreds of thousands of life experiences, a wide variety of them, where I've sat down, looked at them, seen, been victim and victimizer, been predator and prey, been adult and child. I've been all the different roles in a situation in different perspectives. And from that, my intuition is developed or strengthened.
Wow.
Because when I was a child, I only had a limited number of experiences, so I would look at a situation and I would react. I would react to what I felt, but it wasn't necessarily an accurate read on the situation. For, let's say, someone who's been abused, for example. In sexual abuse, you have a predator and a prey, and typically the predator is behaving in a seductive or coercive sort of way, and but they inside feel shame and guilt and pain and difficulty. Now, so then as an adult, for a long time, seductive qualities then will be associated with guilt and shame and pain that the abuser imprinted on their victim. Instead of accurately seeing a situation, so then anytime somebody looks or does something that seems like that situation, my body or someone else's body will react. Their nervous system will kick in, and it will seem like intuition. Oh, I know what's going on there. I know exactly what that is. Get away from me. I don't like you. I don't want you. I know what your agenda is. And it's not an accurate read for what's really going on. It's just qualities or a setup or a situation that triggers all of those felt senses. Yeah. And so when I was young, many times the people I didn't like were the people that were actually would be the best friends, and the people that I did like were not necessarily very good for me. You know, because the bad person when I was a child was pretending to be the good person. So you get very confused.
Yeah.
And the only way to break through that not trusting of my felt sense and what was going on was to have so many experiences that I could look at it and say, all right, what's going on? Yes, I have an accurate read. It's not this, it's that. Maybe there's a little bit of predator in there, but it's way overshadowed by good intention. And so I don't need to be concerned, and I can move forward.
Wow, that you just pointed out, I think, such an important skill of a healer is to know the difference, to be able to discern the difference between kind of what's a personal reaction based on maybe fear or wounding from the past. So that is an absolute skill that a good quality healer must have, because healers maybe sometimes can maybe cause some harm by not being able to make that discernment of what's personally theirs from a wounding of the past and what's actually going on based on a accurate reading.
Or a misunderstanding of the past.
Yeah.
I mean, how many situations have we been in where intuitively, you know, or to us it feels intuitive, you know, I know exactly what's going on, but because we've never walked in the other person's shoes, we're missing so many pieces of information, you know, that would change our perspective. So many times when I'm working with someone, if I have something come up, you know, I question it all. I always question it because what's really going on here? And if I have an inner conflict in it, which many of us then believe is intuition, we're like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. It creates a strong emotional reaction in us.
Yes.
So if we have that in a situation, we're coming from an emotional piece. We're not really coming from a higher sense, a higher self of a broad vision of what's going on. We're coming from a mini version. And then we walk in saying, I know exactly what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And we walk in with this confidence and this arrogance without recognizing that each person is very unique and individual and has their own path and their own situation, which tons of variables we may know nothing about. And for us to try to impose what we feel or believe is true upon someone else without allowing them their voice to say, no, this is where I'm coming from. This is what matters to me. You know, and without allowing the difference of opinion, you know, then that's how we can harm people.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, what a great point, because I mean, I trust that inner vision of mine and those images. I trust that 100%, and I never override a client. There's plenty of space and room for dialogue and all of that. But your point and your approach is just so majorly important, because especially if a person's kind of at the beginning of their healing journey. What you just said made me think of kind of like a ball of yarn. And so somebody at the beginning of their journey, it's their past and their present and their future and their wounds and their desire to heal, and all of that's kind of all intertwined tightly like a ball of yarn. And so your skill as a healer is to kind of find the beginning of that thread and start untangling. Mm-hmm. Oh, I just think that's just so awesome.
So you have to allow people to be where they're at, and even if, for me, in a healing position, my intuition says, oh, I should be doing this, you need to work on that, this is what your problem is. If someone isn't in the space to be able to see it, if they're not ready for it yet, to see that aspect of it, if they need to work on this aspect over here, then we can, create, that's how healing crises come about, is because we're imposing upon someone else what we believe is true or what we feel is true, and part of it is true. Absolutely it's true. But you have to look at the whole picture. And what you do, which is really great, is you have your intuition come up, but then you've said this to me before, where you say, but you know what, Rita? It's not my situation to be in. So I can't really give you, I can't really tell you whether this is right or wrong or good or bad, because this is your reality and how you need to live it. And so if this is where you're at and the issue you're working on, and this is something you need to work through, then that's perfect. That's it. That's the truth.
And that's a really caring thing to do with someone, I think. It's not get in their way.
Right.
That's not... it's not my place as a human being, and it's also definitely not my place as a healer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you work around, do you ever question your intuition?
I don't question the inner vision and the images, because to me that, from a very young age, it's a language I started learning and deciphering, and it's direct. Kind of, I think the definition of a mystic, not that I'm claiming to be a mystic, in a way I think we all are, and I think that's been conditioned out of us as well, that we go directly to source, and that's what we trust. So those inner images and that spiritual language that I learned is pure. It's direct, so it's not tainted by anything, and I do trust that 100%. I have had to learn how to work with all the stuff that you were just talking about, so that doesn't get in the way. And in fact, if it starts to get in the way in a session, I'll say, I feel like I'm in the way. I have to pause, or sometimes I'll actually, inside my inner vision, I'll see an X, a red X, which means stop. Something's in the way, something's interfering. And I trust that, and I just listen and follow, and yeah. So that, I don't. Do I ever have doubt? In a healing session, no. Because it's sacred, and I'm prepared. And I'm in that place of trust and allowing, and I don't have a whole lot of doubt there in my everyday life, functioning, with lots of different egos, and sometimes my ego getting involved. Yeah, I have doubt in that, yeah.
So when I express my intuition to someone, I almost always ask to see whether they can validate it or not. So like when I do body work, one of the things that I do is I'll give people, if they're in the right space and they're the right person, I'll give them a running monologue of what their body is telling me. I don't see angels, I don't see spirit guides, I don't do any of that. But when I touch someone, I can hear, and not even hear, I can feel in my body the energy, the state of mind, the state of thought or reaction that their different parts of their body are going through. So I can say, okay, this muscle's really angry right now.
Wow.
And this muscle, the opposite one, it's feeling disgusted with the fact that this one over here is hurting again. And wait, no, it's now opening up and everyone's accepting the new reality. So let's move here. Oh, this area is a little bit nervous about what we're doing.
Very cool.
So I will talk to them about what I'm sensing, what my body is sensing, and the thoughts coming into my head, and get the validation back so that it's a synergistic healing. It's a back and forth. Okay, am I on the right path? Is this the right direction we want to go in? And I think just in healing in general, it's a good practice to have, because even if our intuition is extremely spot on, right on, we still have to work with the other person's personality.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and where they're at and what they're working through. And when we give them a voice to say back what they're thinking or feeling, that it's not just one-sided, us assuming what's going on or pushing them into a certain area. And I'm not saying that's what you do. I'm saying that this is something that we as healers do. We have our intuition is spot on, but the other person needs to feel empowered.
Definitely.
We need to empower them by not rolling over them, and telling them, well, this is what's really going on with you, and this is what you need to be doing, and this is what's underneath it, and this is your problem. And if you would just do this, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
That completely
I would run
disempowers
away
people.
from a healer like that.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Goodbye.
But there's so many people in our field who are like that.
Definitely.
And I don't know if it's based on their own insecurities and need to feel powerful or strong, that they can't let the other person have a voice. I don't know where that comes from, but I think as healers we need to have such a level of humility.
Yes.
And it's that humility that allows the healing to happen.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about all of that?
Well, and I'm going to address the audience on
Okay.
this, because I think it's really major for people in the healing professions. This point that is in regards to intuition, when I'm living my everyday life and in my everyday world with family and friends, I never allow my intuition to interfere or intrude on anybody else. I never ever do that. When I'm in a session and there's an agreement to enter a sacred space, and I'm given permission because a client came to see me based on me being in the healing profession, there's permission. That's a totally different ballgame. I have had, and I've been in this spiritual work for a long, long time in my life, from a young age, but as an adult, really involved in the spiritual community. I've had some experiences that were such a turnoff for me. One time I was at this workshop, and I had a woman sitting across from me, and she got real close, in my physical space, and she said, "I'm reading you right now."
You know what? Get away from me.
I'm like,
you can go over there and read somebody else.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Such an
It's
intrusion.
so intrusive.
So I just wanted to make that point that I think a very something to be aware of when you are looking for a healer that resonates with you. Just be really careful and pay attention to your own intuition, and let that lead you to the right healer. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah. No, I have. When I talk to people, part of my style is to be very confident, and is to be very,
Yes.
This is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm feeling, and this is what's going on, and you know what, this is what you should really do, and if you do this, then you'll be much happier, and that's just the way that it should be. And then, because that's just my personality.
Yeah.
And then I also, because I've been victimized by people, I've been on the other side, I'm always throwing in there, and this is just me. I have no idea what's going on with you. And because I don't know, you need to argue back with me.
Yeah.
I will give you 10 million ideas, and my only point is to get you thinking I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what to do, but I'm really not telling you what to do because you know what's best for you. And I'm only here to get things stirred up, to get your wisdom going and to get ideas going and stuff ping-ponging around and give you a sense of hope.
Yeah.
You know, that's all my job is. And if I sit there and go, girlfriend, you know, and take on some sort of weird non-Irish.
But even when you do that in your confident personality style, I can't imagine, I know, because I've known you for a long time, you're never intrusive. We aren't intrusive with each other, which there's a high level of respect that goes with that.
Yes.
I can't imagine you kind of giving your kind of opinion or advice without knowing that that person would be open to it or leading with some kind of, well, I'm sensing, I'm feeling, would you like to hear kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even do that. I try to develop the rapport first, and then
but
they
you
know
have
who I
a
am.
rapport. Yeah, you're not just going to like come up to somebody at a workshop and tell them, get in their space and read them.
Right, and I had people where I've lost clients because before I recognized that they couldn't read me as well, they didn't realize that I may be saying this. You know, I learned to overemphasize it then, and to be like, you've got to understand I'm going to be very opinionated, but I totally recognize that my opinions are my opinions, and they're just meant to get you thinking. They're just meant to send you in a new direction. You know, that's all that they're meant to do, because I don't know exactly what you're going through. I know a lot because I'm kind of masochistic, so I will walk into a million different situations just so I know what it's like. You know,
which I want to say to our audience, because I've known Rita for a long time. I actually think this is a very, very cool thing that Rita does. She won't ever run. She won't ever run. And I know from having discussions and conversations with Rita that a lot of her abilities, skills, and everything that she's developed over her lifetime is because she not only doesn't run, sometimes she runs directly into the hurricane, which is really cool.
Right, and smeared the mud all over me and peed myself while I was doing it, and you know, and puked over in the corner, and so then I can go to somebody and say, yeah, no, I know what you're experiencing. I really do know what you're experiencing because I totally get it. Yeah. And you know, when you have a wide variety of experiences, I'm going to tell everybody out there, when you've got a wide variety of experiences that you purposely choose to develop in yourself, it gives you credibility. It doesn't matter how amazing your intuition may be. If people don't believe you, if they don't believe you've walked in their shoes, that you understand who they are, that you understand their experience, if you can't develop that rapport with them, I don't care how good your intuition is. It's not going to have hardly any effect. So the key thing is to develop the rapport and the understanding and the humor and the laughter and the relaxedness and develop that so people then are open to what your intuition is. So the intuition should come later, whereas at the beginning it needs to be, you know what, let me tell you about myself so that you can feel comfortable that you're in safe hands, that I'm not going to disrespect you or treat you as if you're nothing, and you will be able to feel heard and listened to. And then later on, you can be like, you know what you need to do? Let me tell you. You know, and it'll be heard and taken with a sense of humor. So intuition, I don't care how amazing it is, if it's not tempered with being able to see through somebody else's eyes and the fears and the anxieties and the issues and the problems that they're going through, it's not going to make much of an impact. It'll just, as it did with you, Irma, it'll just piss you off.
Oh, yeah. Big
It'll
time.
just make you mad, and somebody will shut down, and you won't be able to assist them in the way that you wanted to assist them.
Yeah. Yeah, and you bring up another really good point in what you were saying a little bit earlier about it being synergy. That a healing session, and this is an opinion, so I'm going into my ego here, it is an opinion, it should feel like synergy. It should feel, although I don't like that word should, but I'm using it right now, relational, equal. that because you are coming to someone and they are the healer does not make them in any way, shape, or form superior to you.
Never, never.
And you will never find myself or Rita in a position of sitting in front of a room of people where we are the authority and the expert. That's not going to happen, because it is about synergy and a relationship and equality. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's about empowering people, not disempowering people.
Well, and the nice word of warning is, if you don't have a good sense of humility, you put a giant target on yourself. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be gunning for you. Yeah. So if you're able to say, this is what I think and feel, however, your feedback, what's going on with you is equally as important, we're equals, it gives you a little bit of a protection, because if you set yourself up as better than somebody else or as having secret knowledge, trust me, everybody out there is going to be gunning for you then.
Yeah, they're going to wait for you to make a mistake.
They're going to wait for you to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to do that to yourself. Oh my gosh. I mean, I get people all the time who tell me the amazing things that I've done for them. I mean, I hear, it's ridiculous, but I hear it sometimes several times a day.
Which I'm sure you have.
Absolutely, from different people. Oh, you've got magic hands. Oh my God, this is a complete miracle. I mean, I turn it around. And it's not that I don't believe I affect them in this way. Mm-hmm. But if I take that as meaning that I have something that they don't, mm-hmm. It actually diminishes my power to help them heal. Mm-hmm. Because then I am usurping whatever authority that they have, and you're missing their really important feedback and information that they can add to the situation. Yeah. So healing is never ever a one-sided situation. It's not about me healing you. Yeah. It's more about, I have the wiring to be a healer, and I heal by supporting your journey. That's how I heal. Mm-hmm. And I come with some specialized knowledge which may help, but you have specialized knowledge about, whatever it is you have specialized knowledge about. Yes. But it doesn't mean mine is any better than yours.
Yeah, a good example of that, and I've had this play out in my personal life, but it also plays out if you are in a healing profession sometimes, where I've been called an angel. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
right.
No, because here's the thing. Angels only have one place to go because they're already at the highest point. Mm-hmm. So you can't hold that point forever. So an angel's going to fall off that throne at some point.
Why would you want to do that to yourself? Oh my God, that would be terrible. Oh yes, I want to crash and fall and burn to the ground again. That'll be fun.
But the temptation.
Yeah. It feels so good. You're amazing.
Okay, I'm an angel. No. There's a price to pay. Yeah. No, I can't take that.
And it's not that you're dissing yourself either.
No,
you're owning the fact that you do have this gift. I mean, it's not a, I know.
No,
not really.
Not fake
Please
humbleness.
don't say that. Please don't. No, I'll give everything
it's like,
away for free.
Stop. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. No, if it's not authentic, where you realize you were just as messed up as the next person, you have just as many issues. You just happen to be wired in a way where you like to help people move forward, and you've got a little bit of extra knowledge about it. Mm-hmm. If you don't take that, then you are setting yourself up for a lot of problems, so don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah. There was something I wanted to mention, and it's a little bit off the topic, but I'm thinking as we go along in these conversations, there's certain things that kind of opened up a different world to me, different understandings as far as being a healer, as far as being human being that also has a soul, so a spiritual being. And one of those things was, and it's definitely connected to, Rita's like, where is she going?
Oh no, I'm
fine. Okay.
Your intuition's off.
Is it? Oh shoot, you're right.
Did you get an image?
We're so bad and good. Connected to intuition is the pineal gland, and the importance of understanding that. How has it played out in human history, and where we are in 2017? What awareness and understanding do you have about the pineal gland, and how can you connect that to intuition?
When my pineal gland tingles, it tells me I should pay attention.
And how do you know that it's tingling?
Because it tingles.
Like
it tingles.
It
tingles. It tingles. It goes tingle,
like
tingle, tingle, tingle.
So it would be like a
It's
energy
a felt sense.
that you're feeling that's tingling.
Yeah. When I feel a tingly felt sense between my eyes, which is, where the pineal gland is then located, when I feel that, I need to take a breath and stop for a second and pay attention to what's going on and be open to the wonder and the mystery, because something is going on that's way bigger than me, and I need to really be open and allow. I normally don't do the whole I'm a hollow bone, let it come through me channeling sort of thing. I typically don't do that because to me I find that reckless.
Yes.
Because then
you're inviting everything in.
Yeah, not only inviting everything in, but it also, you're not paying attention to the fact that you are a human being with issues. If you own your issues, then you can work with them. If you disown them, then they're going to come up and they're going to skew what you see and what you feel. And you won't even notice it because you're thinking you're being a hollow bone when in reality you've got something else going on.
Right.
So, but the time when I am very open and very clear purposefully is when this tingles. So when it tingles between my eyes, I know I need to stop, and something bigger is coming through me. But generally speaking, I'm me assisting somebody else on their journey. I'm not a representative of a higher power, although I am, if we're going to get philosophical. But when that happens,
so it's a felt sense and a tingling for you. The reason I mentioned that is so if you are following us and you'd like to do some research on the pineal gland, and you are kind of in the healing profession yourself and you haven't done that yet, or you're moving towards wanting to be in a healing profession, that's some really good research to do. And my interpretation of the pineal gland is it's the third eye, it's the spiritual eye, and it's also, that's where my images come from and come through.
Oh, cool.
Well, because, and I don't want to get biblical, but it does say in the Bible.
Should I be an angel?
I'm not. I'm an angel and a devil, and
There you go.
everything in between. It does say in the Bible to let thine eye be single.
Okay.
It does. And in my interpretation of that, they're talking about the pineal gland, because we have our two physical eyes, which are our earthly eyes, which sees and experiences duality. The pineal gland, the single eye, experiences oneness. And so it's very, very connected directly to source. And that's why I think it's such a major thing to tap into, because, and it's totally connected to intuition, because it's going to that place of oneness. It's not trusting necessarily what we're seeing in duality with our two physical eyes. It's kind of tapping into that single eye.
And so it should never get a boyfriend either.
No, it doesn't.
Thine eye be
It
single.
doesn't need a boyfriend. That's very cute, Rita. I just got it. Took me a minute.
All I could think about is I'm waiting for you to finish so I can be like, hey, let me tell the joke that just came up to me. And my intuition said I needed to say it. Okay, so this is devolving kind of quickly.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was cute.
No, it is cute. But we should probably think about wrapping up.
Fine.
So
it's hot in here, and I'm getting a little delirious.
Are you getting delirious?
A little
As
bit,
I said,
yeah.
we're devolving, and that's not fair to your time or to whatever. So we hope you had a good time. We hope you enjoyed it, learned a lot about intuition and intuition with yourself. And if you have any questions or thoughts about it, feel free to email us. And what I'll do then is any questions or comments I'll add to my next email that goes out, and I'll answer them in my email. So if you don't belong to my email list, go to inspiremassage.com and sign up for it. And I send out daily emails that help healers and help people who are looking for personal growth and development move in the direction that they want to go. So send us your questions and comments, and I will answer them and give my opinion to the best of my ability in the next email. Okay, I think that's it.
What's our next topic?
I don't know.
Well, there's quite a few qualities. Would you want to go with that healers have a need to be alone and to seek solitude? Would you like to go
I
with
love
that?
it. I love it. So our next video will be on how healers need to be alone and seek solitude. How aloneness is a critical quality to staying sane.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do that, you'll be able to be even better at what you do.
Absolutely.
Okay. So have a great day. Glad you joined us, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.